My name is Mira. I am 25 years old. I live in a small and quiet town. My family is not rich, but we live a simple and good life. My parents are very strict. They are also very religious. They taught me many things about life, love, and marriage. They always said that love is a pure and clean thing. They said marriage is a special bond that must be respected. I listened to them from a young age, and their words stayed inside my mind for many years. Because of my parents and their lessons, I grew up with strong beliefs. I believed I must wait for marriage. I believed that my body and my heart must stay safe until I found the right man and the right time. I never dated anyone. I never had a boyfriend. I never went to parties with boys. I never kissed anyone. My lips never touched another person's lips. This was my own choice. It came from my values and my family's teachings. When I went to college, I saw many different girls. They did not live like me. They dated boys. They talked about love. They talked about kisses and nights out. They laughed when they spoke about their boyfriends. Some girls called me old style. They said I was slow or strange, but I did not feel bad. I did not feel hurt. I did not care about what they said because I believed in my path. I felt sure about my values. I felt safe with my choices. I always had hope inside me. I believed my heart would know the right man when he came. I dreamed of a true love story, a love that was honest and deep. I wanted a partner who understood my beliefs. I wanted someone who respected my choice to wait. I imagined my wedding day. I dreamed of a day full of light, with a simple dress, warm smiles, and a quiet promise between two people who wanted the same life. I did not want to rush into love. I wanted to take my time. My life in my small town was slow and peaceful. I lived with my parents. I studied hard in college. I read many books about the world. I learned about people and places far from my town. But one thought stayed with me every day. I wanted to find a man who loved me for who I am. I wanted to find someone who looked at me with respect. This hope lived in me like a soft light. I knew that many other people lived in different ways. Some had many relationships before they married. Some changed partners often. People follow their own path, and I understood that. But my way was special to me. I chose to protect my heart. I wanted to give it to one person only. This person would be my husband. We would build a good life together. I waited with patience and trust. Now I was 25. I felt ready for love, but I still wanted the right kind of love. I wanted love that fit my beliefs. I wanted love that stayed. I did not know what the next day would bring, but I felt ready for change. I trusted my faith. I trusted my heart. My story was slow, but it was mine. One day, something new began. I went to a coffee shop in a nearby city. I sat near the window with a warm drink in my hand. The room was bright and full of people. As I looked around, a man walked in. His name was Rian. He was tall and confident, He wore a nice suit. His hair was neat, and he had a bright smile. When he saw me, he smiled in a warm way. My face felt warm. I felt shy, but he came closer and spoke to me. He said he liked my simple clothes and my calm voice. I did not know why these words made me feel special, but they did. No one had ever spoken to me like that. His smile stayed with me even after I left the shop. Later, I told my friend Zara about him. Zara had many friends. She knew many people. When I said the name Ryan, she looked at me for a long time. Then she gave me a warning. She said, "Mira, be careful. He is not a good man. He moves from girl to girl. He does not stay with one person." Her words made me worried. I did not want to believe her. I hoped she was wrong. But even after her warning, I kept thinking about him. I felt a strong pull when I thought of his smile. I believed that love could change a person. I believed that if he truly cared for me, he would respect my values. I wanted to believe he could be better. I wanted to believe he was different with me. Soon, Rian started to call me every day. He sent me flowers, bright red ones, to my home. He sent boxes of sweet chocolates. He wrote kind messages on my phone. Every gift made me feel important. His words made me smile. He always knew how to make me feel happy. I had never felt this way before. I felt like he saw me. I felt like he chose me. I thought maybe he was the man I had waited for all my life. He made me believe he loved me. I began to see my future with him. I imagined a home, a simple life, and respect between us. I believed he was the answer to my long wait. One evening, Rian planned a special night. He took me to a beautiful restaurant. I had never seen a place like that. The lights were soft. The music was slow. I wore a red dress for the first time. I felt older and different. Rian looked at me and said I looked wonderful. His words felt warm in my heart. We talked through dinner. We laughed many times. He made me feel like I was the only person in the room. I felt safe and happy. After we ate, he drove me home. The night was quiet. The car was dark. When he stopped the car near my house, he turned to me. His eyes looked warm and deep. He said, "Mira, I think about you all the time." My heart beat fast. Then he moved closer. Before I understood what was happening, he kissed me. It was my first kiss. His lips were soft. The world felt quiet. I felt warm and unsure at the same time. I did not pull away. I let it happen. When the kiss ended, I felt happy, but also afraid. My parents had told me to wait for marriage. I thought of their rules. I thought of my old beliefs. I wondered if I had made a mistake. That night, I could not sleep. I thought about Ryan and the kiss. I thought about my promise to myself. I asked myself if love could change things. I wanted to trust him. I wanted to trust my heart. The next day, Ryan called and asked to see me again. When we met, he wanted to be close to me again. His voice was soft, but strong. I felt scared. Things were moving too fast. I took a deep breath and said, "No. I want to wait. I want to wait until I am married." He looked at me and smiled. He said, "Then we will marry soon. Very soon." His words made me feel light again. I believed him. I believed he wanted a real future with me. This is where my story began to change in ways I did not expect. Before I continue rest of the story, please like, subscribe, share, and tell me where you are listening from. Your support means a lot to me. Now let's continue. 1 week passed after Ryan said we would marry soon. My heart felt full of hope. I thought my dream was close. I thought my long wait had meaning. I woke up each day with a smile. I told myself that love was finally here. Then one afternoon, Ryan called me. His voice was excited. He said he had to go to Las Vegas for work. He said he wanted me to come with him. Then he said the words I never expected to hear. He said, "Let us get married there. I do not want to wait." I felt my whole body go still. My dream of marriage was coming fast, faster than I ever imagined. I did not know what to say at first. I had always wanted a simple church wedding, but I also loved him. I believed he loved me too. I wanted to be his wife. I said yes. We traveled to Las Vegas 2 days later. The city was bright and loud. There were many people, tall buildings, and big lights everywhere. I felt small in that place. But Ryan walked beside me and held my hand. I tried to stay calm. I wanted to trust him. I wore a plain white dress that I bought before the trip. It was simple, but it felt special to me. Ryan said I looked nice. We found a small wedding chapel. It was warm inside. There were no guests, no music, no family, no friends, only Ryan and me. A man stood in front of us and began the ceremony. Ryan looked into my eyes. He said his vows. I said mine. Then the man said we were husband and wife. Ryan kissed me and whispered, "Now you are my wife." I felt happy at that moment. I thought this was the start of my new life. But the night was not what I imagined. After the wedding, we went to a hotel. I expected joy and warm words. I expected love. But Ryan changed. He did not look at me the same way. His voice was not soft. He took a drink, then another drink. Then he took his phone and walked into the next room. He stayed there for a long time. I sat alone on the bed. The lights from the city came through the window, but they did not make me feel safe. I waited for him to come back. I waited for a smile or even a kind word, but he did not say much when he returned. Something felt wrong. My heart felt cold. But I tried to tell myself that he was tired. I tried to hope the next day would be better. The next morning, he left the room without saying anything. I sat on the bed and waited. I waited for an hour, then 2 hours, then many hours. I looked at the door again and again. I waited for the man I had married, but he did not return. The sun moved across the sky. My white dress was still on the chair. My wedding ring felt heavy on my hand. My mind felt confused. Why was he gone? Why was he so quiet? I felt fear, but also sadness. Then he came back. His face was cold. His eyes were empty. He did not sit down. He did not smile. He looked at me and said one sentence that broke my life. He said, "I want a divorce." I could not speak. I waited for him to laugh and say it was a joke, but he did not laugh. He was serious. He said, "You are not what I wanted. You are too simple. You do not fit in my life." Each word hurt me. I felt weak. I felt lost. I felt small. He said more things that cut into me. He said, "You waited all your life for this, and look at it now." I cried. I cried until I could not see clearly. I asked him why he married me if he did not want me. He did not answer. He took his bag and left the room. He did not look back. I stayed on the floor and cried. I cried until the night came. I cried until my heart felt empty. I tried to call him, but he never answered. He blocked my number. He did not send one message. He did not care about me. I had to go back home alone. I sat on the plane with my simple ring in my hand. I looked out the window and felt lost. My wedding was only 1 day old. My marriage ended before it even began. When I reached home, my family saw me at the door. They were shocked. They were angry. They said I had brought shame to them. They said I was careless. They said I should not have married so fast. They did not want to look at me. They did not want to hear my story. They did not know how much pain I carried. Their words added more hurt to my heart. I had no place to go. I had no husband. I had no support from my family. I felt like my whole life had fallen apart. The future I dreamed about was gone. My trust was broken. My heart felt weak. I stayed in my room for days. I did not speak much. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I thought my life had ended. Then one day, my friend Zara called me. She asked me to come stay with her in the city. She lived in a small apartment. She said she would help me. She said I did not have to face this pain alone. I felt grateful. I packed my few things and left my parents' home. I moved to the city and stayed with her. She gave me a bed. She cooked food for me. She helped me look for a job. She was kind and patient. I needed that kindness more than anything. Life in the city was fast and loud, but the bookstore job she found for me was quiet. I liked arranging the books. I liked helping customers. It gave me peace. It gave me a small space in this big world. I told myself that I would try to heal. I told myself that time might help me. One afternoon, a customer walked in and placed a magazine on the counter. When I looked at the cover, I felt my hands freeze. There was a photo of Ryan on the front. He stood next to a very beautiful woman. The title said, Businessman Ryan Cade and His Secret Marriage. My heart moved in fear and shock. I picked up the magazine and read the story. It said he owned many companies. It said he was rich and important. It said he was famous. He never told me any of this. He never told me he was a businessman with power and money. I understood then. He had used me. Maybe I was nothing to him. Maybe our fast wedding was part of a game. The pain in my heart grew stronger. But inside me, a new feeling started to grow too. It was not hope. And it was not fear. It was something more firm. Something more clear. I told myself that I could not let him destroy my life. I told myself that I must stand up. I must fight for what was right. My story was not over yet. When I saw the magazine with Ryan's face on the cover, I felt a strong shock. I held the magazine and read the words again and again. He was at a big party with a beautiful woman. The title called him a rich businessman. I learned he owned many companies. I did not know this before. He never told me the truth. I understood then that he had used me. He married me and left me like I was nothing. The sadness inside me grew, but a new strength started to form. I told myself that I could not stay quiet. I had to stand up for myself. The next day, I went to a lawyer. His office was small, and he listened to me with care. I showed him the wedding papers from Las Vegas. He looked at them and said my marriage was real. He said I had rights. His words gave me hope. I felt like I could breathe again. I did not want revenge. I only wanted fairness. I wanted to protect my dignity. The lawyer helped me write the papers for the case. We told the truth about the fast wedding, the sudden divorce, and the pain he caused me. When Ryan got the legal papers, he called me. His voice was cold, and he asked why I wanted money. I felt a small fear, but I spoke clearly. I said he took my heart and left me with nothing. I said I would take what I deserved. I ended the call and felt proud. For the first time, I did not feel weak in front of him. News about the case spread fast. People talked about it. Some wanted to know my story, but I stayed quiet and focused on the court. Ryan was angry because he did not want the world to know what he had done. Still, I stayed calm. I went to work every day and waited for the court date. When the day came, I walked into the courtroom with my lawyer. I wore a simple dress. My hands felt warm, but I stayed strong. Ryan sat on the other side of the room. He did not look at me. The judge listened to both sides. He read the papers and heard the truth. He saw the proof. After a long time, the judge made his decision. He said Ryan must give me money. It was enough to help me begin a new life. It also showed that what he did was wrong. I felt relief. I felt lighter. I walked out of the courtroom with my head high. I had fought for myself and won. I knew I had made the right choice. After the case, my parents called me. They said they forgave me and asked me to return home. I loved them, but I was not the same person anymore. I needed to live my own life now. I told them that I loved them, but needed to stay on my own path. It was a hard call, but I felt calm after it. With the money from the court, I found a small apartment. It had one room, a small kitchen, and a living area. I bought simple furniture and placed a few plants near the window. The apartment felt warm and safe. It was my space. It felt like a new beginning. I kept working at the bookstore. I liked the quiet place. I liked the sound of turning pages and the smell of new books. Later, I started taking online classes. I wanted to open my own bookstore one day. The dream made me feel excited. It gave me a reason to work hard each day. Life slowly became calm again. I learned important lessons. I learned that love needs respect. Rian did not respect me, and that was why my marriage ended in pain. I promised myself to choose better in the future. I would not let anyone treat me like that again. Sometimes I saw Ryan in magazines. He smiled in every picture and stood with important people. But when I looked at him now, I felt nothing. No pain, no anger. My heart was free from him. I had let everything go. I felt proud of the person I was becoming. I learned to stand alone. I learned to trust myself. Even after all the hurt, my heart was still clean. No one could take that from me. I still hoped for a true and honest love one day, but I was not in a hurry. I wanted to build my life first. One evening, I sat on my small sofa with a book in my hand. The room was quiet. The warm light touched the walls. I looked around and felt peace. My life had not been easy, but I had survived. I had grown stronger. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to English Medium Stories. Stay with us for more classic stories in easy English. My name is Linda. I am 26 years old. I was born in a small town in Africa. Life there was not easy. My family was poor. We lived in a small house with broken windows and no hot water. Every day, I looked at photos of New York on my phone. I wanted to live in America. I wanted money, freedom, and nice clothes. I wanted a new life. I didn't care how I got it. One day, I made a plan. I wanted a green card. I knew some women married American men to get one. I thought, why not me? I was pretty, smart, and I could pretend to love someone. I was not looking for real love. I only wanted papers. I told myself, don't feel bad. This is just a step. I didn't feel shame. I felt ready. I made a fake profile on a dating site. I said I was looking for a kind man. I added some cute photos. In just 2 days, I got many messages, but most were too young or too poor. I needed someone older, someone lonely, someone easy to control. Then I saw David. David was 39 years old. He had soft brown eyes and a shy smile. He lived in Texas. He worked in an office and owned a small house. He had no wife, no kids, and few friends. In his photo, he looked like a nice man. That's what I wanted. A nice man who didn't ask too many questions. I sent him a message. "Hi, David. You look kind. I like your smile." He answered right away. "Hi, Linda. Thank you. You're very beautiful." And just like that, we started talking every day, morning and night. I told him I was a teacher. I said I loved to cook and read books. I told him I wanted a simple life. All lies. David was kind. He asked about my day. He called me sweet names. After 2 weeks, he said, "I feel something for you." I smiled at the screen. "Me too," I lied. "I think I love you," he said after 1 month. That was perfect. I said it back. "I love you, David." He was so happy. "Come to America," he said. "Let's get married." I acted shy. "So soon?" I asked. But inside I smiled. My plan was working. David paid for my flight. He sent money for my visa. I bought a new dress and packed my bag. I told my mother, "I'm going to the U.S." She looked at me. "Do you love this man?" I said, "He's kind." That's enough. But I didn't care if he was kind. I just wanted to get out. When I arrived in America, David was waiting at the airport. He held a sign with my name. He wore a clean shirt and held flowers. "You look even more beautiful," he said. I gave him a hug. I smiled at him, but not with my heart. My smile was part of the plan. We drove to his house. It was small, but clean. He made tea for me and talked about his job. I looked around the room. Nice TV. New sofa. This was better than my old life. "You can sleep in my bed," he said. "I'll take the couch." I shook my head. "No, we are husband and wife now." That night, I let him hold me. I closed my eyes and thought about my green card. We got married 2 weeks later. It was a simple wedding. No big party. No family. Just us and a friend from his job. I wore a white dress I bought online. He cried a little during the vows. I just looked at the clock. After the wedding, he helped me start my green card process. We took photos, filled papers, and went to the interview. I held his hand and called him my love in front of the officer. I kissed his cheek and said, "I want a life with him." I looked into his eyes and smiled. He believed every word. At home, David tried to make me happy. He cooked dinner. He bought me gifts. He asked me about my dreams. I said, "I want to study." I want a job. I want a future here. He smiled and said, I will help you. He didn't know the truth. I didn't want a future with him. I just wanted a future in this country. I started to change. I went out more. I made new friends. I stopped cooking. I stopped asking about his day. I told him I was tired. Sometimes I stayed out late. Sometimes I didn't come home. He asked, Where were you? I said, With friends. I looked him in the eye and lied. He looked sad. He didn't ask more. David was not a bad man. He just wanted love. But I was not that woman. I was not his dream. I was a user. And I didn't feel sorry. I told myself again, this is just a step. One day, I met another man at the gym. His name was Jake. He was young, strong, and full of life. We started talking. Then we started meeting in secret. I told him I was single. He didn't ask questions. I didn't offer answers. David started to notice. You are always out, he said. You don't talk to me anymore. I looked at him and said, I'm busy. He didn't fight. He just looked tired. The day my green card letter came, I was home. David brought the envelope to me. It's here, he said with a smile. I opened it slowly. My heart was beating fast. I read the letter. Approved. I wanted to scream, but I just smiled. Thank you, David, I said. He looked proud. We did it, love. I kissed his cheek and walked into the kitchen. I poured coffee and looked out the window. That night I went out again. I didn't come home. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. I did not sleep at home that night. I stayed with Jake. He lived in a small apartment near the city. He was fun and young. He made jokes and played music. I liked being around him. I told him I lived with a friend. I said I had no family in the U.S. That was a lie. I had a husband, but I did not care. The next morning, I went back to David's house. He was cooking eggs and toast. I smelled coffee. He looked tired but happy. Where were you? He asked. I sat down at the table. I was with my friend, I said. I was too tired to come back. He looked at me for a few seconds. You didn't answer my messages. I smiled and said, I forgot my phone charger. He said nothing more. We ate in silence. He asked if I wanted to go for a walk. I said I was busy. I went to the bedroom and closed the door. I texted Jake. I didn't want to spend time with David anymore, but I needed to stay a little longer. The next week, David took me to the immigration office. We had an interview. He held my hand in the waiting room. Are you nervous? He asked. No, I said. I was not nervous. I was ready. I had played my part well. I wore a nice dress. I smiled a lot. I said I loved my husband. I said we had a good life. David smiled and nodded. He believed me. A few days later, my green card arrived. It came in the mail. It was in a white envelope. I opened it slowly. There it was. My green card. My freedom. I wanted to jump and scream. I held it in my hand. I could not stop smiling. David looked at me. "You did it," he said. "We did it," I answered. But I didn't mean it. He did not know I was already planning to leave. That night, David made a nice dinner. He cooked chicken and mashed potatoes. He lit candles and put on soft music. "Tonight is special," he said. "We are a real family now." I smiled and said, "Yes, we are." But inside, I felt nothing. After dinner, I took a shower. I looked at myself in the mirror. My skin was glowing. My eyes were bright. I whispered, "You did it, Linda." I felt proud. I was almost free. One more step. The next day, I went to work. I had started a small job in a salon. I washed hair and cleaned floors. It was not easy, but it paid money. I told the girls at work that I was single. I said I had no one. They did not know about David. I kept him a secret. At night, I met Jake again. We went to a bar. He kissed me. He called me beautiful. I laughed and said, "I'm happy now." He did not ask about my past. He liked my looks, not my story. When I got home, David was asleep on the couch. The TV was still on. He had a blanket over him. I looked at him for a few seconds. His face looked soft and kind. I felt nothing. I turned off the light and went to bed alone. 2 days later, I packed my things. David was at work. I filled my suitcase with clothes, makeup, and my green card. I left the wedding ring on the kitchen table. I did not write a note. I did not say goodbye. I just left. I moved in with a friend from work. She had a small room to rent. I paid her with the money I saved from the salon. She asked no questions. She was happy to have help. I blocked David's phone number. I did not want to hear him cry. I did not want to hear him ask why. I knew he would be hurt, but I didn't care. He gave me what I needed. His part in my life was over. I told people my name was Linda James. I used David's last name to sound more American. I told people I was divorced. Some men liked that. They thought I was experienced. I smiled at them. I liked the attention. One day, I saw David outside my work. He was standing near the door. He was holding a paper bag. I don't know what was inside. Maybe food. Maybe something for me. He looked at me, but he did not smile. He just watched me. I froze. Then I walked past him and said nothing. That night, he sent me a message. I just want to know why. I read it. Then I deleted it. He did not message again. Weeks passed. My life changed. I got a better job at a bigger salon. I earned more money. I bought new clothes. I went to parties. I met new people. I smiled more. But inside, I still felt cold. Jake stopped calling. He found someone else. That was fine with me. I didn't love him. He was just something to do. I was alone again, but I didn't care. One night, I sat in my new room. It was small but clean. I had a soft bed and a desk. I looked at my green card. I held it in my hand. I touched it with care. This card gave me a new life. But now, I didn't know what to do next. I had no friends who truly knew me. No one to call. No one to hold. I had the papers. I had the clothes. I had freedom. But still, I felt something missing. I did not know what it was. Then I told myself again, you did what you had to do. Be strong. I put the green card in my wallet and turned off the light. My life after leaving David was very quiet. I moved into a small room. I went to work every day. I came home at night. I watched TV alone. I ate simple food. I did not talk to many people. I told myself, this is the life I wanted. I was free. I had my green card. I had what I came for. But some days, I felt strange. I looked at my phone and had no messages. I sat at the window and drank tea. The city was busy outside, but my room was cold and silent. I did not laugh much. I did not cry either. I felt nothing most of the time. I kept saying, this is what you wanted, Linda. This was your dream. At work, I smiled at customers. I helped wash their hair. I cleaned the chairs. I said good morning and thank you. But I did not share anything about myself. When the girls at the salon asked me about my life, I said, I'm fine. That was all. They never knew about David. They never knew I was married. That part of my life was gone. One evening, I saw a couple in the street. The woman was laughing. The man held her hand. They looked happy. I turned away quickly. I did not want to feel anything. I walked fast to the bus stop. I waited there in the cold and thought about David. I saw his face in my mind. He always looked at me with soft eyes. Even when I was cold, he was kind. I pushed the thought away. But David came back to my mind many times after that. I remembered the night he cooked for me after I got my green card. He had made sweetbread and chicken. He lit candles and smiled. I only said, thank you. I gave him nothing in return. He had looked so happy. I had only waited for the right time to leave. One day, I opened my drawer. I saw the green card again. I held it in my hand. It was strong and shiny. I had worked hard to get it. I lied. I cheated. I used someone who trusted me. But I had what I wanted. Still, my heart felt heavy. I put it back and closed the drawer. That weekend, I went to the park alone. It was a sunny day. Children were playing. A man was teaching his son to ride a bike. A woman was reading a book near a tree. I sat on a bench and watched them. I had no one. I had no one to talk to. I had no one to call. My phone was silent. I looked around and felt very small. I had a life in America now, but I did not feel strong. I did not feel happy. I had no one to tell my stories to. I had no one to care about me. I had no one to miss. I thought again about David. I wondered if he was okay. I wondered if he hated me. I wondered if he had someone new. That night I opened my phone. I searched his name online. I found his picture. He looked different now. His face was thinner. His smile was not as big, but he still looked gentle. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I put the phone down and went to sleep. The next day, I tried to forget again. I told myself, "You are lucky. You are in the country you wanted. You can stay. You can work. You can travel." But the voice in my heart said something else. It said, "You hurt someone good. You hurt someone who gave you everything." I started writing in a notebook. I did not write about work or food. I wrote about David. I wrote about the first day we met. I wrote about the airport. I wrote about the day I lied to him. The day I told him I loved him. I wrote about the way he looked at me. The way he smiled at me when he brought me flowers. I wrote about how I walked out without a word. After I wrote, I sat still. I felt something move inside me. It was not joy. It was not sadness. It was something between. Maybe it was truth. For the first time, I said everything to myself. I did not hide. I did not lie. I just told my story. My real story. Weeks passed. I kept working. I saved money. I bought some new clothes. I bought a small table and 2 chairs. But no one ever sat in the other chair. I always ate alone. I started drinking coffee in the morning just to feel warm. I looked out the window a lot. I thought about calling David. I thought about saying sorry. But I never did. One night, I dreamed of him. In my dream, we were in the kitchen. He was cooking again. He was laughing. I was sitting at the table. He looked at me and said, "I knew you didn't love me, but I loved you anyway." I woke up fast. My pillow was wet. I had been crying in my sleep. I got up and walked to the mirror. I looked at myself. I looked older now. My eyes were not as bright. I was not that young, pretty girl who came to America full of plans. I was not that girl anymore. I was someone new, someone who had made choices, some good, some bad. I went back to bed and closed my eyes. I thought, maybe I will fall in love for real one day. Maybe I will meet someone who loves me again. Maybe I will be a better person. I don't know. But tonight, I will rest. I will stop running. And in the morning, I will try again. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.